It looks like West Virginia's NCAA tournament chances continue to dwindle as they sit squarely on the bubble and in danger of missing the NCAA tournament when it looked like they were a shoe-in just a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk about that on this episode of Hoops from the Hills. Thank you for tuning into the show. Let's go ahead and start off by, first off, I was not able to do a game recap or game review of the Baylor game, which West Virginia dropped in overtime. Over the weekend, I was at a family event, did not get to watch the game other than a few seconds at the end and in overtime. So was not able to do a show. But that being said, West Virginia's tournament chances are really the story of the day right now. That's what most West Virginia fans are talking about. It's what most of the water cooler talk is about, hey, is this team really going to miss the NCAA tournament after the wins they've pulled off this season over Kansas and Gonzaga and Iowa State and Arizona and others? Are they really going to miss the tournament? Well, it looks like they just might if they are not able to turn this ship around. Now, there are two different publications, two different sources, whatever you want to call it, Jerry Palm and Joe Lunardi, who both put out their bracketologies and their projections about the NCAA tournament, who gets what seed, who gets left out, and yada, yada, yada. And we're going to talk about that here, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it, and then we're going to look at the schedule ahead and see just how things look going forward and what are West Virginia's chances of getting into March Madness. Let's go ahead and start off with what Jerry Palm had to say about West Virginia's chances. And to do that, we're going to reference an article written by Skylar Callahan over at West Virginia on SI. And as you see, it says West Virginia is flirting with trouble in latest CBS Sports bracketology projection. It says many of West Virginia's players transferred into the program for a chance to play in the NCAA tournament before they exhausted all of their eligibility. Guys like Javon Small, Eduardo Andre, and Toby O'Connie are among those hoping to go dancing in their last go-round. As things stand today, the postseason outlook is bleak. The Mountaineers are still projected to make the tournament, according to Jerry Palm's latest bracketology on CBS Sports, but they are slowly fading into a dangerous territory. WVU is listed as a number 11 seed, taking part in a play-in game against Arkansas for the right to face number 6 seed Illinois in the round of 64. Darren DeVries' squad has lost 6 of its last 8, 3 of which occurred on their home floor. And as you see here, it has West Virginia playing Arkansas in a play-in game, 11-seed play-in game, for the right to move on and play Illinois. It says the Mountaineers will be back in action on Wednesday night inside the WVU Coliseum as they go for the season sweep of Cincinnati. Now, that's Jerry Palm. He has West Virginia as a play-in game. So he has West Virginia as a play-in game. So where does Joe Lunardi have the Mountaineers? Well, let's take a look at it. Joe Lunardi has them in a slightly different scenario, but also not all that much better. Let's go ahead and see where this came out just a couple of hours ago, but right before I recorded this, it says Big 12 has 5 teams that are locks, 1 team that's likely, 8 teams total, and 2 teams who are on the bubble. The 5 teams who are locks are Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Arizona, and Kansas, who he has as a 5 seed. He has Baylor listed as a team who's likely to get in as a 9 seed. And then he has West Virginia and BYU both on the bubble. He has West Virginia as a 10 seed and BYU as an 11 seed. And then when you go down here, he has them listed. If you go further, he has them listed. When you pull up the next graphic, it says last 4 buys: West Virginia, Texas, Vanderbilt, BYU. What does that mean? It means they would be one of the last 4 teams to get into the tournament as an at-large team without having to play a play-in game. So with Jerry Palm having them playing a play-in game and Joe Lunardi saying they will be in without playing a play-in game, he has them slightly, basically 1 seed higher than where Jerry Palm has them. But what's all this mean? It means they're skating on thin ice right now. West Virginia cannot afford to lose many more basketball games. They have 6 games remaining on the season, 3 at home, 3 on the road. They are 15-10 right now, 6-8 in the Big 12. If they can go out and win 3 of their next 6, hold serve at home, I think they have a good shot of getting in. But I would feel a lot more comfortable if they can win 4 of the next 6 and steal a game on the road against somebody, especially if they can steal that win against Texas Tech in Lubbock. Now, I'm not going to predict that to happen, but I do think it's a winnable game. But when you look at West Virginia's schedule the rest of the way, they obviously have Cincinnati coming up at home Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on ESPN2. They've got to win that game. Okay. Then Saturday, they have to travel to Lubbock to face Texas Tech. They're likely not winning that one. Okay. So that's 1-1. That puts them at 16-11. Then they come back to Morgantown to face TCU, a team who they should have beaten in Fort Worth, but didn't. They allowed TCU to win that game, unfortunately. A game that West Virginia should have won. They were the better basketball team. Should have won the game. They didn't. They let it slip. They got to make up for it when TCU comes to Morgantown. You've got to win that one. Then they have to travel to Provo to take on BYU, another team who they let slip away, that one being at home. Can they go to Provo and still a win in Provo? They follow that up, another game in Utah against the Utes. Again, another team who they should beat. They beat Utah on the road, they beat Utah in Morgantown. They need to beat them on the road, and then they finish out playing UCF at home. There is not one game remaining on their schedule that's not winnable. The one that's least winnable is Texas Tech. West Virginia could theoretically go 4 or 5-1 the rest of the way. If they do that, they're in for sure. That gets them to 20 wins. They're probably a lock at that point. I think they get in if they go 4-2, maybe even 3-3. If they can win all 3 of their home games against Cincinnati, TCU, and UCF, they should get in the big dance. But again, I'd love to see them win those 3 and also still at least one of the games in Utah against either BYU or the Utes. If they can win the 3 at home and still 1 on the road, I'll feel much better about the Mountaineers' chances of getting into the NCAA tournament. But they have got to start playing better, more consistent basketball down the stretch. They cannot have these long scoring lapses, and they've got to shore up their defense, and they've got to shore up their rebounding and play better basketball the rest of the way. What do you think about West Virginia's chances to make the NCAA tournament? What do you think about Jerry Palm's projection? What do you think about Joe Lunardi's projection? I tend to trust Joe Lunardi. He's typically right more than he's wrong. I'll just to be honest, I don't follow Jerry Palm as closely, but I do know that Joe Lunardi typically hits it right on the money, or at least extremely close. And he has West Virginia as a 10 seed right now and in the tournament, but on the bubble. You don't want to be on the bubble. You want to be above the bubble. So West Virginia, stay focused, come out, we'll try to win the rest of these next 6 games, or at least win 4 of the 6. You'll get in. That puts you at 9. If you would go 4-2, you're sitting at 19 wins on the season. You'll be sitting at 10-10 in Big 12 play. I think that puts you in the tournament with probably a decent seeding, a 7, maybe an 8. If you go out and go 3-3, you probably get in as a 10 seed, a 9 seed, somewhere in there. Don't feel as good about that. So hopefully they can get the job done in at least 4 of these next 6 games. At worst, they need to go 3-3 down the stretch and hopefully pull off a win or 2 in the Big 12 tournament as well. But what do you think West Virginia needs to do to get in? Let me know in the comment section. I want to ask that you please subscribe to the channel. Help me get to my next goal of 3,000 subscribers. Please hit the thumbs up on this video if you liked it. And hey, by the way, the West Virginia women's team, shout out to them. They just pulled off a huge win, their biggest win of the season, by beating the 12th ranked Kansas State Wildcats. So congrats to the West Virginia ladies. Big win, 70-57 win over the Wildcats. I was not able to watch the game, but JJ Quinley did her thing. She poured in 26 points to go along with 4 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals. Jordan Harrison, 18 points, 2 steals, 3 assists. Also, shout out to Jordan Thomas, who come off the bench to put in 11 points and pull down 5 rebounds. So, congrats. Kyle Watson had a decent game with 5 points and a block shot. So, congratulations to the Mountaineers for pulling off a huge win, an upset win over the 12th ranked Kansas State Wildcats. And this women's team continues to just impress. Maybe they will get hot here at the perfect time, right as they get ready to go into March. That's when you want to be playing your best basketball. And it looks like maybe the West Virginia women are doing just that. So congrats to Mark Kellogg, congrats to his staff, and congrats to those ladies who are playing good at the right time. Hopefully they can make a run in March in the tournament. So congrats to the West Virginia women. I want to remind you that there's another video that you may like right here in the corner of your screen. YouTube thinks you will like it. So check it out. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Hope the rest of your day is top shelf. And cue Country Roads.